Welcome to Anaadi, Conversations about Wisdom. In today's episode, we are going to have a very interesting conversation with Priyanka Patel of Sound Healing India. If I have to introduce Priyanka, she is an institution by herself in the field of sound. So today, let's understand about sound and beyond sound from none other than Priyanka Patel. So, if I am saying Priyanka Patel and Sound Healing India is a combination that I see as Priyanka giving a voice and a sound to a Sound Healing India. How did sound come in your life, and what has been your journey with sound and Sound Healing India?
In the retrospect today, I realized that sound has always been a part of my life. It's just that I've realized it now in these last few years that sound was always a part of my life. However, if I have to talk about sound from the perspective of sound therapy or sound healing, or how did I take sound healing professionally, it was only in 2010 when I got into this wellness space is when I realized that oh, there is something called as healing. Oh, there is something called as your body can heal itself. Oh, there's something called as it is all about your thought. And when you can become conscious of your own thoughts, life manifests or life probably happens in a very different way. And all I have to do was take care of my thought, the way I emote, the way I feel, and all about myself. To a journey that an soul adapts to, which was fascinating. I bring that book, I finish it in 3 days, and then I register myself for a workshop. I attend that, and I'm amazed to how people are talking about alternative therapies. It was very difficult for me to believe in it that yes, one can heal someone, but even today, for me to believe that I can heal someone is still difficult. However, to realize that healing is my own journey and it is a process of self realization. All of this happened in 2010. I've never looked back after that. It's still in journey, it's work in progress.
So, Priyanka found a sound from within, and today she has taken the sound outside as well.
If I have to put it that way, look, for the longest, I didn't have an identity of my own. I didn't know who I was, all right? There was a lot of emotions within. I knew what I wanted in life, I knew what I wanted to do in my life. I knew I was very different, and I was my thought process, my understanding, the way I would speak with people, the way I would understand them, all of it was very different from everyone around me. I saw myself different. However, I was always afraid that if I show that part of me, I might not be accepted because I am different. In the run, what I honestly did was I became a people's pleaser, and for the longest, I lived my life that way. Means I suppressed myself. In short, I didn't have my identity until Sound Healing India was born, which was in 2016. So from 2010 to 2016, I think it was a journey of my own. I took enough time to realize that only when I acknowledged that yes, there is something within me that needs an expression, that needs a channel, that needs to be let out. I might not be included, not for the world, but for myself, is when I think Sound Healing India was born. And Sound Healing India kind of gave me a platform where I could be myself and I could express all of it. So, yes, for me, Sound Healing India today is my identity, because if it wouldn't have been for Sound Healing India, I wouldn't have been who I am, or I wouldn't have been at the stage where I am today. Wherever I am, I don't even know where I am, but wherever I am today, it is all because I held on to myself. I've always had that faith, I've always had that hope that one day, and I don't know if that day has arrived, I don't know if that day will arrive. There is that hope, there is that faith, and I know that I have to do my bit and I have to take care of my bit, and that's about it.
So I would say, what is that sound of a Sound Healing India? What is that sound of Sound Healing India that intend to do, intend to spread?
Interesting. The only intention that I am holding today in this moment is to bring harmony to people's heart, and that is it. and that is through the medium of sound. Not limiting myself to an instrument. I don't want people to limit themselves to an instrument. I want people to understand the subject of sound. The place where I come from, I see life through the lens of my own emotions as well. I'm very emotionally connected to myself. I'm very strongly connected to my body, to my family, to my people. That's exactly who I am. That defines my personality. So, if I have to take care of Sound Healing India, or if I have to hold an intention for people or for the work that I'm doing, I'll only hold that intention because I have that in me. I can't give that which I don't have, right? I can only give that I already have and which is in abundance. And I understand that perspective, and I understand that from a non judgmental space. I understand that from being at a neutral space. If I have to help people understand the sound within them, then I know that I can't limit myself to an instrument. I know that for a fact that when it comes to sound healing, it's seen as healing through an instrument. You need a singing bowl, or you need a gong, or you need your own voice, or you need a tuning fork, or you need a chime, or anything for that matter. Well, I think that these instruments are just the medium that help us connect with the sound within. And that sound within that I'm talking about is the sound of an emotion. So, in this moment, how are you feeling about yourself is very, very, very important. If I can realize and if I can think about it in this moment, how am I feeling about myself? And if I can simply take a pause and stay there in that moment with my own emotion, I'll be fully connected to who I am in this moment. And in exactly in that moment, I'll also be connected with my breath. That is exactly how sound therapy works. You identifying yourself through the emotion or through the feeling, and then if you hold on to that state, you will realize how your breath is also flowing in that moment. Pause and stay there. I think that's
So,
how I define my sound as.
so then how would you explain a connection between a sound and breath? Going for the relation between a sound and breath.
Let me simplify this from the instrument's perspective. When we hold a singing bowl in a hand, or before which not every bowl that sings is a singing bowl. When you hold a singing bowl that is authentically hand beaten and made up of kasa, made up of bronze, you will realize and you will see that as you strike a bowl and as you rim your bowl and as you play it, the bowl is helping you shift your energy or your thoughts from this state into another. Now, this state can increase your energy levels or can also decrease your energy levels. Anything can happen in that moment. Sound, as much as is a wave, is also a vibration and is also a disturbance. As simple as this. What sound is doing to me in that moment is not in my hands, but how am I playing my bowl is in my hands. I'm aware of my breath in this moment. If I can get in touch with my breath in this moment, and then if I can strike my bowl in that moment with all my awareness on my breath, I'll realize as the sound of the bowl penetrates within me, it shifts my thought process. If it is helping me shift my thought process, it is also helping me slow down. If it is helping me slow down, it is also helping me channelize my emotions. And if it is doing all of this, it is also taking me into the state of thoughtlessness. And if all of this is happening, the ultimate work is happening on my breath. If the work is not happening on my breath, then the sound is not working on me.
So sound and breath is a sangat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are interconnected. The repair in your breath is the repair in your sound. The repair in your sound is in the repair of in your breath. Repair is a very loosely used word here, okay? But let me explain you this way. When people come to us for healing, okay, they come to us with a hope that their say insomnia or their anxiety will get healed or reduced, right? What we are trying to work is on their breath. Ultimately, we are trying to teach them that look, here's the sound. You are supposed to internalize this whole process. It's not about me playing the bowls for you or you picking up a bowl and playing it for yourself. It doesn't limit yourself to only that much. It's very important for you to experience the sound. If I am playing or you are playing, experience that sound, internalize it. How is this sound making you feel? What is the sound doing to you while you're experiencing it? Also, after, which means in the silence. What happens in a studio, you are going to feel nice because you've already created a vibe. There's already the space that supports the ambience, that supports the healing session, all of it. But what happens when you go back to your routine? What happens when you go back into your own life? That is more important, right? So, if sound is supposed to work on your anxiety, it is supposed to work on your breath. When you are anxious, you are going to breathe differently. When you feel healed, you will breathe differently. So the ultimate work is always on your breath. The way you breathe is the way you live. And the way you live is exactly how you breathe. And that is why it is not just the work on your symptoms of anxiety or insomnia or confidence or fear issues. It is the work on little habits, your little habits like how do you think? How do you talk to people? How are you walking? How are you eating? How are you sleeping? How are you looking at life in general? If you can try to become conscious, not at every step, of course, but if you can try to become conscious whenever by coming back to your breath, you will realize, or I can simply take a pause, take a deep breath, and then continue.
How lovely. So, sound helps you to realize and celebrate your breath.
Yeah. Oh, celebrate your breath. That's a beautiful sentence. I think yes. Sound allows you to celebrate your breath, and most of us are forgetting that today.
Yes.
We are. I'll give you a very simple example. I remember one of these clients coming to me and saying that, most of the time I'm anxious and I'm unable to sleep. It was not really anxiety. It is for the social media that we should blame for, because we use these words very loosely that I'm depressed and I'm anxious and all of this. But she was only overthinking. All right. So then I asked her, then why don't you explain your routine to me? What do you all do? And she says, she's constantly on the go. She's celebrating life. How? By partying, exercising, heavy exercises, eating outside at least 3 or 4 times in a week, late night Netflix, late night Instagram, few hours of sleep. So in between, I couldn't understand where is life here. You're constantly on the go. Do you take a pause? Do you sit down with yourself? Do you anytime not think anything? Do you have some quiet space? Do you kind of just sit and look at the ceiling and do absolutely nothing? And she's like, no, all of these things make me more fidgety. And I'm like, there you go. So it's not just about me slowing down mentally and emotionally, right? My physical body also must support these things. Am I not supposed to eat that food that my body demands? Am I also not supposed to shift from heavy exercises into yoga or simple walking for that matter so that I can slow down? Am I not supposed to learn to simply sit down if I am actually hyperactive or overthinking? It's not just about sound therapy always or any other healing modality for that matter. It is about what you're doing for your physical body. So the question arises, are you connected to your own physical self?
So, now that you have said, are you connected to your physical body?
Yeah.
The question arises in my mind, how do I know if I'm connected to my physical self or a physical body?
Wasn't that my question to you? In turn,
Yes.
you're trying to ask me the same question.
Yes, because I want to know, how do I know whether I'm connected or I'm not connected?
Our body has its own intelligence and it speaks to us, provided we listen to it. The first thing that we do when people come to us, either to learn sound therapy, to experience sounds, or to heal themselves on their physical emotional levels, the first thing that we do is we help them through a technique to connect to their physical bodies. It's simply by connecting with the sounds within. the sound of your heartbeat, the sound of your breath, the sound of your thoughts and emotions. And that's about it. If you can simply, with your eyes open, never with your eyes closed, with your eyes open, if you can look what is going on within, you can put your hand on your heart and see how your heartbeat is feeling in this moment. Let's do this. Why don't you put your hand on your heart in this moment? And how is your heart beating in this moment? Is it fast? Is it normal? Is the pace different?
It's surprisingly very relaxed.
It is relaxed, and as simple as this. I only asked you if it is fast, slow, normal, and you said it is relaxed. So are you feeling relaxed in this moment?
Yes.
And that's about it.
So that's how you know you start hearing the voice or a sound from within.
Absolutely.
And that is a connection that you have with your physical body.
Exactly. So, if at all, so suppose if you would have said, like, because we are interviewing you and because I'm asking you questions and I'm feeling a little nervous, I would have asked you to simply close your eyes, stay there with that breath and with that heartbeat for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And then I would have simply asked you to hum in your own voice. And as simple as this. Your hum is not supposed to be as long as mine is. Your hum is just supposed to be as how your voice wants to throw it out or let it out. And if you can hum for a couple of times, you will see how, one, the sound of your heartbeat is changing, two, how your breath is changing, how you're slowing down in this moment.
So my question here is, like you said, your hum not supposed to be as much as mine. You mean to say the hum will change how depends on how I'm feeling?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You are it right. Absolutely. Every sound has a consciousness attached. You will exactly sound the way you're feeling in this moment, or the way you are in this moment, physically, emotionally, and mentally. When I say that, what I mean is, suppose I'm playing a singing bowl, or I'm playing a gong, or any other instrument. My state of stillness, my state of consciousness matters. It's very, very important. And it takes a couple of minutes for me as well before a sound bath actually begins to play my instruments, to settle myself, to bring that stillness in, then to start facilitating a sound bath. So, yes, every sound depends upon one's state of consciousness. And as the sound of your hum changes, your state changes. And as your state changes, the sound of your hum changes. So, these are very, very closely connected. There is no sound without consciousness, there is no consciousness without sound. Everything is sound, everything is definitely sound.
So now what we did right now is a kind of a self healing.
Absolutely.
So can you explain a self healing, a role that sound plays into a self healing?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what we just did is also self healing. You don't have to have an instrument to heal yourself. Once a sound practitioner, forever a sound practitioner. So, you may or may not have your setup. You have your own voice, which we are forgetting. So, let me take you to these 2, 3 steps. Okay, self healing with your voice, self healing through a singing bowl, or self healing with any instrument for that matter, or no instrument for that matter.
That's
All right,
interesting.
let me try to explain this. I hope I can do justice to this question. Now, suppose I'm feeling a little heavy, or if I'm feeling a little nervous before this interview, what I'll do is I will start to connect with my breath and heartbeat that I just showed a while back, and I will hum. And humming always helps me settle and ground myself. But is this the only benefit of humming? No. Humming also helps us take care of our insomnia and sleeplessness issues. Humming helps us take care of our overthinking and anxiety. Also helps us take care of the blocked sinuses, the headaches, and the pain around the stress around the neck and the shoulders. also the lower abdomen pain and the lower backache. Now, if humming can help me in so many things, that means humming is doing something inside to me.
Correct.
Humming releases a molecule called as nitric oxide, which is a natural neurotransmitter, which is also a natural painkiller. Why is it not naturally puffed by our cells? Is because of our lifestyle, the sedentary lifestyle, sleeping issues, eating habits, less exercise, fatigue, stress, all of these dampen or are the reasons why our cells don't puff adequate amount of nitric oxide which is required. Humming helps us do that.
So, is there a timing that you use in a day for maybe humming or any other medium that I want to use? Like you said, a
Huh.
bowl or a hum, or I'm assuming that, like you said, humming, there would be a different other sounds also that you use for a healing.
Right.
So,
See,
if you can just explain that.
Sure. See, if we can only talk about humming right now, all right. If I stick myself to humming, what's important is your intention, your willingness to heal yourself, your dedicated sincerity, and your determination. These things I think are very, very, very important. When you hold an intention, you know you're working towards something that helps you hold a vision, that helps you kind of, it shows you a path that, look, I want to walk on this path, come what may, right? Sometimes you also need an external help. Like I also have a therapist friend, like Gauri, I can also call you my friend who also helps me in our own talks, and that is therapeutic for me. Well, jokes apart, but it's always nice to take an external help when, but however, when it comes to self healing and when you are humming for yourself, what's important to always remember that sound demands silence. So if you are practicing humming for a couple of times or a couple of minutes, that is important, that it is please remember that it is very, very important to sit down in silence to process and to feel the reverb that that hum has created within you. Most of the answers are found in that silence. Healing actually happens in that silence. So, experiencing silence after your sound work is very important. So, if you do not have time early in the morning to meditate upon your own voice, or for that matter with a singing bowl, please don't do it. Do it at the end of the day just before you hit the bed. But give it the silence that it demands. Otherwise, all of it just dissipates. It just dissipates because you are kind to change, you're trying to bring a shift within. That means you are trying to bring a shift in a pattern which is repetitive. And when you're trying to bring a shift in a pattern which is repetitive, and when you're giving it a new sound, there is a new pattern which is already kind of being induced. And then, if you don't allow it to process and settle within you, if you don't allow your brain and your body to experience it, then how do you think will you be able to process that whole feeling? So, as much as sound is important, silence is equally important, and we cannot forget that.
So that's the relation between a sound, a silence. So I would say sound, breath, and silence,
Yeah,
or
very much.
sound, silence, and breath.
All of it together doesn't matter. The placement doesn't matter. So, the question arises, where does the sound come from?
Yes. True.